everyone, Jester Bell is here, and I just wanted to do this very quick video talking about the DC movie news and just clarifying my thoughts on it. I already did the live stream reacting to the news, but now I've gotten a chance to really just kind of sit on it and mule over it and collect my actual thoughts and how I'm feeling about it. And I'm starting to feel, overall, I gotta tell you that I'm starting to just feel apathetic about DC, and I'm not totally thrilled. I'm neither very disappointed or totally thrilled about the new news. And let me explain why. So, first of all, what we have very, very few A-list character movies that are coming out. We had mostly TV shows that were announced, 10 projects total. But for the movies we got announced, we got two new Batman films, and we'll talk about that at the very end. We got a new Superman film, we got a Supergirl film, and we got some more movies with some obscure characters. I say they're obscure to the mainstream public. I've never heard of The Authority before. That's completely new to me. Swamp Thing, known by DC fans. I've never read much Swamp Thing, but not known to the mainstream public at all. And so those are basically the movies we have out. And then for TV shows, it's once again mostly obscure stuff. There's a Paradise show that's about the mascara before Wonder Woman. No Wonder Woman in that show. Of course, there's a Green Lantern show, and that's not obscure, but it's something that has been in development hell for a very long time. There's an animated show, I think it's like Creatures or something. I've already forgotten the name that James Gunn is also writing. There's an Amanda Waller show. Peacemaker season 2 is still happening apparently as of now. And there's what was the other thing? Booster Gold. That's another show that's happening. I don't have these memorized, but the reason why it's harder for me to think of them off the top of my head, I think I mentioned them all at this point, 10 projects. The reason why it's harder for me to think of them off the top of my head is that these are mostly obscure projects for DC going forward. I think Green Lantern, two Batman films, Superman and Supergirl, who is not an A-list character. She is a sidekick character. She has had a lot of her own stuff, but she is still she's not Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. That is a B-list character coming in, getting her own movie. So honestly, I've been thinking about it, and it just doesn't excite me very much. I'm looking forward to the Superman film, but we have yet to see a Superman film done right in modern times. It sounds like everything that I'm looking for in a Superman movie. You know, they keep talking about how, oh, Superman is dated. You can't do Superman. And I said, well, if you think that his optimistic worldview is dated, then do a movie about that. Do a movie similar to what they did with Captain America, about that worldview clashing in a modern world. Perfect. And that's what they're doing. And so that's fine. I'm gonna go see that. It's a ways out, and I'm looking forward to that. That's kind of the only. Get to the. I want to say that's the only movie I'm really looking forward to, even though it's still the Batman. But I gotta talk to you about that stuff. But in the meantime, Green Lantern. I'm a big fan of Jon Stewart, Green Lantern, but that show has been in development hell for so long. It's like, you need to show me something really good for me to care, because I've heard about that show for years and years and years, and they've had absolutely nothing to show for it. So you need to show me something very good to make me hyped. What else do we have? The Supergirl film. Once again, I said that as much as I like Supergirl, I feel like you should get Superman up and running first before you do that, or even announce that. Just see if this universe works in the first place. And everything else, it's like, it's like these are just obscure characters that I know nothing about, and when DC doesn't have a good track record, I'm not excited about them coming. A lot of this feels like it's just James Gunn's playground. Like, this is what the DC universe by him would look like. And before I get to the Batman stuff, let me tell you why that doesn't excite me, because when Marvel started their universe, and there's no getting around this, DC is still trying to copy Marvel in this way, there was a clear pathway forward. You had an Iron Man movie, you had a Hulk movie, you had a Thor movie, you had a Captain America movie, and then an Avengers film. So it was very clearly defined as each of these movies is defined by introducing a certain character, and they're going to meet up in the Avengers. Of course, different characters and plot elements were introduced beyond that, but that was basic, and it was easy to follow and see where it would go, regardless if it went well or not. But there's nothing of that there. I don't know how Superman and Swamp Thing or anything are in any way connected. For example, James Gunn was like, oh, that is the other thing. I already talked about Swamp Thing. I'm sorry. There's so many projects I keep forgetting, but how does Superman tie into Swamp Thing? How does the Authority and the Creature show that's animated that's supposed to tie in, and Booster Gold, how is this all supposed to tie together? And obviously we're going to see how it's going to tie together. Don't scream at me for that in the comments, but the point is that I don't immediately see a plan here where it seems that there's any cohesion. It seems that these are cherry-picked projects from all over the place that James Gunn himself is interested in doing, especially since he is involved in, well, he's involved in all of them, but he's even writing or directing a good chunk of them. He's doing the Waller Show, Peacemaker 2, the animated show, he's writing Superman. He's hands-on on a lot of this stuff, like very hands-on. And so, but then, so there's no cohesion, for one thing, that I'm seeing so far. It doesn't seem very straightforward. They're not using a lot of their marquee characters so far, probably because they want to get some distance away from those original versions. Like, James Gunn keeps using doublespeak that the door's still open for Gal Gadot and Ezra Miller and Aquaman. For Ezra Miller and Aquaman, it's probably just because they have movies coming out that they need to promote, and he probably doesn't want to close the door on anything if those make money, and he doesn't want to offend anybody. Right now, the only two actors that are staying are John Cena and Viola Davis. But the one character we don't really know much about is the one I've been talking on here a lot. Like, what is going to happen with Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn? She is the only major actor who hasn't had a rumor or anything about whether she's staying or going. There hasn't been a rumor that she's going to be in any of these shows. There hasn't been any tell that she is on her way out. The only show in the next 4 years, this is the next 4 year slate that's going to be the way it is with James Gunn's tenure, is the Waller Show. That is a TV show, and it makes sense. That's the only one that makes sense for her to be in because it's Suicide Squad adjacent. But there's two things about that. Number one, Margot Robbie is a very, very busy actress and producer. She just got attached to another show that she's producing. So, and the other thing is she doesn't do TV. She produces TV, and she's made a couple cameos in her own show she's been involved in, but otherwise, ever since she broke out with Wolf of Wall Street, she has been a movie star. She does not make big commitments to TV. So I have a very hard time believing that she's going to want to be in the Waller Show in a major capacity, maybe in a small capacity, but not a major capacity. And that brings the question, why would you keep Margot Robbie as the new Harley? You know that she doesn't have a movie that she can appear in anytime soon, unless she's in the Batman 2. I mean, she's not going to be in the Batman 2. She can't be. That's a different universe. So, like, why wouldn't you just recast? The only reason I see her staying on is because James Gunn wants her, but there's where we're at right now. Like, we have yet to see if anything works out for that, any confirmation. But let me get to what's really making me, like, really turning me off to all this. The situation with the Batman. We have the Batman universe with Robert Pattinson. Very good casting that everyone seemed to agree on. That wasn't even released a year ago. And now we hear that there's going to be a new Batman in James Gunn's universe, that it's going to be with a new actor with Damian Wayne as Robin, and that's going to be the plot of a movie called The Brave and the Bold. And the problem with that is just so confusing. That is going to undercut both universes, and that's what it seems like to me, where all of a sudden you've undercut the Batman universe, which you say is going to be separate, because you've already cast a new Batman. And that raises questions like, are they going to try to get rid of the Batman universe because they say that they want it to just be one actor per character, and all of a sudden go to the Brave and the Bold as the new Batman universe? I don't want to do that, because I think that we had a perfect Batman with Robert Pattinson, and that was an already good universe set up. We don't really need to change anything. And that also brings up a question, and I think a lot of these announcements appeal to hardcore DC fans rather than the mainstream. The mainstream is going to be so confused. Just imagine if you talk to your friend and you're like, oh, are you going to go see the new Batman and Robin movie? And he's like, oh, is that with Robert Pattinson? No, it's a new Batman. It's a different universe. Like, this is stuff that fans who are really invested and have understood comics and multiverses, that's what they can understand. The mainstream is going to be confused in any scenario, whether you have two Batmans running at the same time or if you end one just to start another one. That just sounds terrible to me. And if I was anybody behind the scenes, I would say, axe that Batman and Robin film. It's not that it's a bad idea in isolation, it's that you already have two Batmans going on. That makes no sense. But what's at the crux of this problem is that they want it to be an interconnected universe where everything is a piece of a larger story, just like Marvel. But and I think that's why Matt Reeves doesn't want to be brought over into the DCU, because he wants to have the freedom to tell his own stories. He doesn't want to feel like his Batman 2, which is coming out, it needs to be beholden to whatever larger puzzle piece DC is putting together. But the result is that I'm seeing a universe that's actually incohesive as it tries to be cohesive, and it honestly just feels like more of the same. The Batman was the one thing that I was really excited about, like untainted, really excited about going forward. They can do whatever they want in those other areas, just keep the Batman universe going forward. But now it's undercut. Once again, it's either going to end very soon or it's going to have to compete with another Batman. And I just really don't like that. And the fact that we just keep going around in circles. This is the 10th anniversary of the DCEU as it was. The fact that we just keep going around in circles and keeping some things and rebooting other things and have these different executives who are very self-serving, it just makes me feel apathetic. It makes me feel, especially with the Batman news, that even if I latch on to something from this universe, then it's going to be rebooted or have something else it needs to compete with in a second. And I just hate all that, and it's hard for me to really care anymore about DC movies. I just wish there was something to actually look forward to. I wish actually that they would stop with this idea of having a big interconnected story. You can have characters in the same universes, but you don't have to have it be this big puzzle piece you're putting together. Stop trying to be like Marvel. Marvel's not doing so well itself right now. But those are my thoughts on James Gunn's DC going forward. What did you guys think about it? Tell me about it in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time.